It's just making up something new where things were getting old or in a rut or whatever, So does everyone have to move some crazy place? No, I think you can find something crazy, wild, and exciting wherever is the fit. And I don't think we have to be stuck, but I think we just have to really be aware that this is the best time to decide what we want and then build up like all the reasons why you just got to run for it no matter what, even if there's a volcano that's not too far from where you live.
Hey there, welcome to Delusional. I am your host, Michelle Coyle. I am here today with Lisa Toste. Lisa, please introduce yourself to the Delulu crew.
Hello, everyone. My name's Lisa Toste, and I uprooted, left everything behind in North America, and moved to a volcanic island in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean.
And I am so jealous because your photos and videos from the Azores are incredibly beautiful. Tell us, what compelled you? Because you had a very successful career. I've known you for a long time, and you were in Canada. You had a very successful career, very successful family, everything looking on paper like the perfect life. What made you decide to do this?
I mean, a bunch of things if I were to condense it. So I have two teenagers, a very sassy French bulldog. My husband and I have been together for 22 years. And one of the benefits was my business is online. So that made it a little bit easier, but my husband's business wasn't, and a home in that. And we sold it because of a few things. One, just I was turning 50 is when it started, right? And thinking, how did I want to age? How did I want to live the next half of my life? I was noticing how much time I was spending indoors. I was thinking about for my kids, you can put in the whole cost of living. And I just wanted to look like my grandparents left Terceira and the Azores about over 70 years ago, and they came for a better life. And that meant something very different. But for us, it just seemed like the right thing for each family member for completely different reasons, which is really interesting because I didn't know that at the time. I had no idea. And I had some crazy, you want me to wait till I go back and focus here again?
Well, I want to start with the 50 thing. Like, was there something about turning 50, like, that created kind of midlife crisis time? Like, was it like, oh, I got to do something? Like, what was it about being 50 that was a catalyst for this for you?
You know what? It was 50. I think I'm about to be 53, and I always think ahead of time and start conditioning my mind. So I don't believe the stories about what everybody else says. You know what I mean? Like, I'm supposed to feel a certain way, and I'm supposed to look a certain way, and my body's supposed to do certain things. So I always kind of tell the story. So when people ask me, now I'm 53. I'm not 53 yet, but I'm going to be. And it wasn't that there was a crisis. It was just like, it was predictable for my kids, for myself. It was very predictable, the life we were going to live. We could understand like the school it was going to be for my kids, the food supply. We can talk about my body. It was so predictable. And it wasn't predictable in the way that excited me. It kind of left some of the magic because of the predictability. So when we went here, like, whew, everything was brand new. And the truth is, it wasn't even me so much that pressed the button to go, which a lot of people think, oh, Lisa dragged your family to the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. I did not. I was actually the most reluctant of everyone of my immediate family. I mean, my friends and bigger family thought I was absolutely crazy to do this, like absolutely mental to do this. There wasn't like a big party going, this sounds like a really good idea. But like my two kids and my husband, they were the ones going, this is a good idea. And yes, I'm the executor on a plan, but they pushed it.
It was your idea in the first place, though, right?
The thing is, and this is really interesting, it was my dream, and I thought it was only my dream. That was the mistake or the illusion that I had. I thought this was my dream, and when the kids are at a certain level, and when everyone's gotten all their things for me, then I'll go, and then I'll take on this. But it wasn't. My daughter is the one who said, I want to go now. I want to try school. And I thought, I just had these ideas that the school system was better in North America. I just had these ideas, like delusions, right? Like you just have these ideas like this is the way it is. And then you've got to go and check it out. So we took a plane flight, took a look at things, look at the quality of life, looked at what it'd be like to grow our own food here, to live here. And each person has a completely different journey that I didn't know about that was waiting for them there. So maybe I was the one who had the dream first, but it definitely was not only my dream.
This is so cool. Okay, so where did this dream start? It sounds like you'd had this for a long time. You'd been talking to your family about it for a long time. Tell us about that.
My family is from the Azores. They're from here. My dad's actually born in this island. I was the first one on that side of family born in North America. And that's like amazing. So I got lots of, I mean, it's a great place to be born, educated, and all of those things. And then it just, I don't know. I just think there's an interesting time to be on this planet with so much change going around. And you get to pretty much tell the story of, where you want to be, how you want to live, what you want to, there's just a lot. It's a good time to decide your experience, I suppose. So I would take all of those things and decided that I wanted to connect with my Portuguese identity, which I grew up with, right? Because, I see these things you talk about. So the first, up till I was about 13, was heavily influenced with my grandparents. So my grandmother didn't speak very much English. And it was like, so everyone kind of came over and stayed in this one spot, right, where we lived, all of it. And so that's what I grew up around. So although I speak English, and that's my first language, my Portuguese isn't like the best I'd love it to be. I'm working on that still. It was that reconnection to my roots. And I think that's why I talk about identity a lot, because who you believe you are has such an impact on your experience. And so this was like a childhood dream to reconnect with. And I always call this place home. I have never lived here before. And, everyone would tell my kids they'd have such a culture shock when they came here. And how could you bring your kids? So my kids go to school and they're like, Mom, everyone's like you. They just talk differently. They just have it, but they're like the same kind of the way your mannerisms are and your personality. Like it's so fascinating to see how much, I guess, roots really impact you in a way, and upbringing, even though your environment was different. It's so interesting.
It's so interesting. So you've been talking about this for years to your family. And tell me about how your husband felt about this. Like, obviously he was on board for you to move, but like, how did it come up when in a serious way? And what were those discussions like between the two of you?
Honestly, the truth is he's ex-military, went with a dear friend to, I think it was El Salvador he went to, and they were helping out some people there. He's a good guy, my husband. And he saw a couple that he knew, I think we knew in Canada, and he saw the life they were living there. And he just saw how relaxed they were and how they were growing their own food. And they just saw this lifestyle that he knew he would love. And so when he came back and he had said, this is what I saw, we really should talk about this. And a really dear friend of mine that I do the retreats at, who has an amazing place here, she moved first. And we used to work together in the corporate days in a little cubicle. And we used to have these dreams back in the day, but I wasn't certain how sure I would be able to make it. And she moved here first, and she came back and she told me, here's what life is like here. Here's just a different way. And it kind of broke my delusions, if I keep using this word, which I never use, but now I'm chatting with you, I use it all the time here, about how things were. And it really broke some of the ideas I thought about what life was like, or what the best could be, or what was available. You know what I mean? It just gave me a little bit of a good confusion. And so I took a flight there because my husband's like, you need to go and see this. You need to go. So it was my husband who was like, you really need to go. So I popped on a plane, came and saw my friend. And I thought, oh, this would be such a waste of time. I'm just going to go eat in restaurants, work in a hotel, and that's it. I came, and as soon as the plane opened, I smelled the air, touched the ground. I was like, uh-oh. You know that thing? You're like, uh-oh,
yeah,
something's here. And we went to look at houses, which I never thought we were going to buy. And I opened the first house. We walked in the door, and I was like, oh, no. I looked at my friend. I'm like, how do I go back to my home after this? And she smiled. She's like, you don't. Oh. And then I came back 1 week later. We put our house up for sale. I was in Hawaii, coach with a mastermind, on the phone, texting painters and landscapers, trying to get the house ready. It's going for sale. My husband and kids are putting stuff in boxes. We sold it. 6 weeks later, we're back in Treseda. They're seeing it for the first time. On the Thursday, we sold our house. On the Friday, we rented a house that we were going to take for the interim. And on the Saturday, we bought this house. And everyone's like, you should write a book. And I'm like, no one's going to believe this craziness that went on unless you're in the middle of those coincidences that just, I don't know, kind of like when you're in the right flow, And I know, see, I'm telling you this and I understand now it sounds a little crazy, but at the time it made so much sense.
You see why you're on the Delusional show now that you hear
I didn't understand. Why do you want to talk to me? It seems so reasonable what I did.
Oh, it's such a cool dream. And right now, so many people, especially, I'm in the United States, right? A lot of people are looking, oh my gosh, it would be amazing to be able to move internationally. There is this concept coming up for a lot of us of oh, the pace of life is different. The food is
Yeah.
better. The
Yes.
education is different. And we have, and you kind of mentioned it a moment ago about Canada. We kind of live under the delusion in North America, like, oh, where we live is the best. We have the best schools and the best food and the best everything. And there's, I don't know if it's propaganda or what, but there's this, and you tell me about Canada. Certainly in the United States, there's this propaganda of the United States is the best country in the world. And then you start traveling and you go, wait a second, is it? I'm not sure that was true.
I guess it means for what season you're at and what you want.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So there was like a season of my life, like raising my kids, doing my university, starting my business, that wouldn't have been the same here. I can tell you
Right.
that. If I was here in the earlier years, I wouldn't have done the same thing. So I guess the best depends on what season you're at, when you want, what your outcomes to be. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't put anything down other than to say I'm playing with longevity. I'm playing with like how I want to live the next live. My children both had some food stuff and some health stuff that food healed. So coming here and getting into farming and all that, which Michelle, if you had told me 5 years ago I would be doing, I would not have believed you.
You're a
Not have believed
farmer.
you. Well, one day when I grow up, I want to be. I'm deep in training, but I hold high regard for that title. So not there yet, but working on it.
Well, I want to talk about the food and I want to talk about the farming. This has been a really hot topic. Again, in the United States, we have RFK Jr., who is extremely controversial. But one of the things that he brought forth that people did appreciate was, yeah, our food supply in the United States is messed up. It is not good. It has gotten so corporate, so industrial. There's so much shit in all the food. And I'll tell you, I took my family to Belize earlier this year for my 44th birthday. So my partner Brad and my kids, and we ate the most delicious food while we were there. And for Brad and I, who are in our 40s and have started experiencing, all the different sensitivities and all the things that come with that, it was amazing. We were eating pizza, we were eating ice cream, we were eating things that we do not eat at all here in the United States because they just make us sick. And we were perfectly able to eat those things, not get sick. And it was just like, oh my God, this is amazing because they're sourcing all the food there, and all the food where we were eating at the resort was all natural, like from Belize, local,
Mm.
right? Beef, the dairy,
Yeah.
everything, right? And it was a real eye-opening experience. And I came back and I was just pissed off. I was just like, it is so hard and so expensive to find good food here, and almost impossible to find food that you can
Mm.
just get in another country where things are local and they're fresh. And I know, you and I, when we talk about the Azores, we talk about food a lot. And you sent me some amazing
I'm a
pictures
foodie. I'm a foodie. Yes.
just to make me mad of the food that you're eating.
I
Tell
don't think
us
that was the
about the
intention.
food and about the health, because you mentioned your kids had some health stuff and the food helped. Tell us
Yeah.
all about that.
It really did help. Well, I think there's a few things with help here. It's like so when I'd come back and forth here, just getting things started, I remember telling a friend, I got an hour for lunch. And that of course meant commute time. And I was all like, ooh, I got loads of time. And they're like, what is up with you? Like they couldn't conceive, you know what I mean? That, when I talk about I used to live off protein shakes for lunch and stuff. So I'd say that how we eat the food,
Not
it
me with a
is.
protein shake off camera right here.
Yeah. I got one too
Being
here.
called out.
So they're not bad, but they aren't like my main source of food. You know what I'm saying? Like what they're meant to be, supplements on it. I would say how you eat is the biggest thing that I would see. Like you are meant to eat socially, and lunches take a long time. Even with kids, my son and my daughter will have an hour and a half lunch with their friends.
Wow. Like
Like
even
the
in school.
schools. Yeah, and they sit and they talk. You know what I mean? And my daughter eats really good food, and having a young teenager, that makes my heart so happy knowing that they eat. They eat marinated chicken or beef or whatever they're eating. They have big plates. She sends me pictures at school and I'm like, wow, like that. And it's so affordable. So I think how you eat, the socialness of it, the amount of time you sit with it, the community around it, that's the biggest shift, right? And then secondly, olive oil is on everything. It's
Mhm.
on everything here, which is a big difference. And then a lot of people here have gardens. So the idea, you have a connection to the food differently. So I would just get cauliflower and think nothing of it. I've grown cauliflower. I'm not a farm or anything, but like when you grow your own food, you have a little bit more of like, oh, this takes a beat. You know what I mean? This takes a little moment to do these things.
Yeah.
So I think the appreciation for food, the socialness for food, like it's a big, big deal. And I think that makes a difference.
I gotta
There's
tell
no
you,
eating in cars. There's like, I think there's like, on one hand, you could maybe think, I could be wrong, but I think there's 2 or 3 places that there's a drive through on the whole island.
oh wow, okay.
And they're like, there's a McDonald's. There's like, you know what I mean? Maybe there's not even that many, but the concept of eating in your cars is not what I see people do here.
Yeah, you're sitting down and you're appreciating. As you're talking about the time to grow the food, I was thinking about being in Hawaii and going on the pineapple tour. Have you ever been on the pineapple tour, like the Dole Plantation tour, where they show you exactly what it takes to grow pineapples? Did you know it takes like 2 years for one pineapple to grow?
Oh, wow. No, I
Yeah,
didn't.
and so obviously they're doing this in mass. And I'm nerd about like factory tours and stuff. I love how it's made, and I love to see all that stuff. And so it was really interesting for me. But you're watching these people doing this backbreaking labor, taking care of
Yeah.
the pineapples, harvesting the pineapples, and you're also realizing how slow it takes. And they give you a pineapple to take home with you. In a box, you got this on the plate, and then you can take the top, and they teach you how you can take the top and you can plant it and you can try to grow your own pineapple. When I tell
Wow.
you, we have been trying to grow our own pineapple, for like 3 years now, and we do not even have like the tiniest little pineapple. When I see pineapple now in any form, I'm just like reverent. I'm like, we're just gonna buy
Right?
this and just eat this?
Right.
Are you
Right.
kidding?
Right. That's it. So there's this like different relationship with the food that you have. Yeah, I get
Yeah.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you went from everybody's got a little garden to I'm gonna become Farmer Lisa. Like what's that about?
My family, when they were here back in the day, they were farmers. Like they had land, and kind of like most people did. You know what I mean? And there's like, I don't know. There's a curiosity I have about like going back to basics in a sense. And I don't mean because you have to or because, I just have a curiosity like, how does our body age in a normal way, right? If you look at blue zones, right, they always talk about the gardens. They always talk about this, and there's so many things that microbiome. I mean, I could get all geeky about it, but there's so many things just that the garden like makes better. So yeah, this house came with some land, which I was looking for a little garden. Life's like, cool. This is what we're going to give you. And then met some amazing people. And I've just been experimenting, failing a lot, figuring it out, just doing things imperfectly. And the soil here is amazing. So I'm very lucky with that. And I'm just showing up in places. Do I understand all the language that we're speaking? Because I'm working on it more. I mean, I grew up Portuguese and stuff, but we didn't talk about like compost and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So do I know
Right.
it all? Just showing up like, hi, learning, coming back and trying. And the thing is, if I think about aging, like that's the kind of stuff that I think that's what causes a lot of aging. Do you know what I mean? Is like the predictability, which is why one of the reasons that I wanted to leave, right? I mean, again, cost of living and a lot of other stuff we could talk about, but like those things. So learning to farm and being like such a newbie at it is really, it's a cool place to be new again at 52. You know what I mean? And learning language. It's a cool place to be like, to go from like, I know my stuff and it was predictable and like, this is where we're at, to like, ground zero is very humbling. And yeah, I actually think it keeps you young. That's my opinion. This is the story I'm telling myself to make myself feel good about it, and I'm not moving from it.
I know, I love it. And I want to dive into that because you are a coach and you've been a coach for a long time, worked with a lot of entrepreneurs, coached me for many years, amazing coach. And one of the things that we talk about with entrepreneurs is the importance of beginner mind and the importance
Yeah,
of
right.
novelty, right? Can you just talk to us a little bit about that?
I think when we get so normalized to it, when we get so, I want to use the word bored, because I think that's what tends to happen to people. We just get in a rut and we stop, then we don't think of like the new exciting thing to do. And as there's so much change, I mean, we just call it for what it is wherever we look. Like, who knows what happened since we started this podcast? You know what I mean? Something has happened somewhere. I don't know what it is, right?
Yeah.
So instead of getting like, there's ways to regulate your nervous system. There's ways to like find joy in things that aren't so complicated. It's, you know what I mean? Like the idea that I can go outside and get excited about like, oh my God, there's a flower that, like, I know how ridiculous that sounds to you, but that made a real difference. I took about like a couple of months off transitioning and setting everything up, and really understood that the less complicated you need to feel joy, like the rules for joy and all of that, like if you can find happiness and simplicity, that's when you're really winning. And I think that that's a real great medicine for interesting times, right? Like, how much do you need to be excited? How much do you need to be able to see outside the norm? How can you disconnect from what was so you can embrace all of the new stuff that's coming in a way that you aren't so attached to the way it was?
I love how you just connected that to the hedonic treadmill concept, right? Which is like, hey, if I buy a house, I love my house for a while, and then after a while, it's just my house. Or my brand new
Yeah.
car, after a while, becomes just my car. And now I need more and more and more to get excited. And in the unhealthy direction, this is where people get into addiction and addictive behaviors and things like that. Because we're really just seeking novelty. We're seeking dopamine. We're seeking more. Right. And then when you start something new, whether that's a new place or a new hobby or something else, the little wins give you that dopamine hit.
Yeah.
Right. Like you said, I saw a different kind of flower and I got really excited.
Yeah. And that I would not have noticed, just straight up, I wouldn't have noticed that in my previous life. I wouldn't have had the time to notice it. It wouldn't, I mean, yeah, I dig flowers, but like not that much. You know what I mean? Like what I made it mean was more. And I think that's important for anyone. If you're like, I hear from a lot of people, that was a crazy thing, or I could never do it. And now people are just like, hey, what'd you do again? Because maybe we could talk about how I could do that. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the difference? There's a few differences, but there was always some things around that caused people to think about, is now the right place. It's just normalized. There's just more people on YouTube or in the news or their friends talking about new possibilities. So something's normal. So like, if I were to give anyone advice about how do I make some big scary change, is like normalize it in your mind first. Like, I lived as if I was in Portugal so long before I bought any plane ticket to come to Portugal. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I know you do this work too. Like, I would go up to the window and open it, even though there was snow outside, and I'd be like, smelling the ocean air. You know what I mean? No
Yeah.
ocean to be smelled, Michelle. No
Yeah.
ocean, landlocked where I was. You know what I mean? And like,
Yeah.
my whole backyard is the ocean now. Like, there's this real power to create. But I think going back to what you're saying is, if you get stuck in that predictability, there's no like fun, there's no creativity. I think that's when, we age. And I don't mean aging like we just get older. I mean like decay happens,
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I love that you brought up the very delusional practice, by the way, of creating your own reality, of putting yourself where you want to be mentally. And feeling into we can start talking about energy and vibration and get all the way into the woo if you want to, right? But feeling into really the energy and the vibration of, this is where I want to be, but this is where I am now. Because as soon as you start saying this is where I want to be, or this is what I want to happen in the future, you put that future separation in, and you're telling the unconscious mind, oh, this isn't happening yet. This is just something I want. You now have introduced desire into the equation, which isn't bad, but it's not all the way there. Like, we don't manifest from wanting. We don't manifest from a place of lack, which is implied in that equation, right? We manifest from, I'm here now. So I
Absolutely.
love that you were opening the window in the snow. I love that you were smelling the ocean air.
And the music. And of course, I love everything that you're saying. And because we're already telling ourselves a story anyway. So we're going to tell the story of like how AI is going to take over our jobs, or how this is what's going to happen to the economy. Like, we're already telling some sort of story anyways. So I don't know, pick the most fun one. Pick the one that gets you the thing you want, right? Have your hormones dancing instead of in fear. That's, I guess, yeah. That's the delusional part you keep talking and
That's the
referencing about.
delusional
But to me,
part.
it
We keep
seems
talking.
it seems the smartest thing to do.
It's the whole thing, right? Because if you break down coaching, or if you take it all, chunk it all the way up to the highest level, it's, I don't feel good, or I'm not where I want to be, or I'm here and I would rather be here. Can you please help me?
Yeah,
right.
agreed.
And well, why do you want to be here? Well, I want to feel X, Y, and Z. Well, don't you feel X, Y, and Z right now? If you think about it, can't you feel X, Y? Can't you feel secure? Can't you feel happy? Can't you feel joy? Can't you feel love? Don't you see all the examples of where that's all around you? And people go, oh, huh. So why? You just instantly manifested everything you wanted. You don't have to leave your chair.
Yeah. And then when you do leave your chair, it's not so scary.
Right.
And then when someone calls you, is like, hey, do you want to talk about the delusional thing? And then I respond to you like, which one? Like, I didn't do anything delusional, because it seems totally normal to me now.
Totally normal.
I don't know what
Totally
delusional thing
normal.
you're referencing, Michelle.
I just want people to really get, really hear, really see, really feel, really get that you can create your own reality anytime you want. Like right now, in this instance, you can create a new reality for yourself, a new feeling, a new vibration. And that is now the reality for you. So it doesn't really matter if anybody else thinks it's true. So if Lisa wants to open the window in the snow and say, I'm in front of the ocean right now, and she's really feeling that, and she's feeling joy from that, for somebody else to come along and go, you're not in front of the ocean, dumbass, it's snowing, it's not really helpful to you, right? When you want to experience the reality that you just
Yeah.
created. And so I don't know why it's so difficult for people to allow each other this indulgence, right? Why do you think that is? Why does somebody else need to come along and say, no, you're not?
Yeah. Well, I mentioned to a very few people about me moving, and like maybe two or three people didn't let me know how crazy that was idea it was, and how much harm my kids were going to get, and like all the problems. Like there was a list that people could accurately come up with very quickly. Like just seeing people kind of asking, "How can I come now?" You know, and I
Mhm.
think it's because it confronts people's view of the world. It confronts, like, why would you want to do that? Why do you need the ocean? Why do you, which I deeply, and connecting to my roots, I understand like why that's so important to me. So I think no one needs to believe in your dream because it's not their dream. And
Yeah.
so to be very careful about who you tell your dream to, you know, unless you've decided what you want from them, if you decide how they're going to help, or like, hey, I know I'm being repetitive, Michelle, but I'm kind of coding this thing. I'm talking this out. You need just to listen to this. So here's the thing. I love smelling the ocean. I want to live in, you know what I mean, to talk it out, but to really think that through because, yeah, it can be scary to people who don't like change as much.
Yeah, well, it makes them confront their own situation. They go, well, I would never do that. And so therefore, you should never do that. This
Right.
is, by the way, a big theme on the Delusional show. I just did an episode last week where I went through some of the major themes that we've heard from all of our delusional guests who are delusional in all different ways. But
Okay.
there are some things that everybody has in common when they're telling these stories. And one of those things is the friends and family that come up and go, no, you're crazy. And they're trying to keep you safe. Like they mean well,
Yeah. Right.
right?
Right.
And they're trying to keep you safe. And again, we see this in entrepreneurship all the time. And you and I both coach entrepreneurs where the friends and family and the spouse and whoever is going, don't do that with the business, or don't start a business, or don't, invest this money or whatever. That's crazy. They mean well, they want to keep you safe.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, every entrepreneur, every adult, everybody in your life, there has to become this point where you go, I hear you,
Yes.
and
Right.
I'm going to do what I feel is right. So your friends and family are saying, no, you're going to fuck up your kid. Which, God, what a personal thing to say to somebody. You're going to mess up your kids?
Yes, and you know, like how much a mom I am, right?
Yeah.
Like I am such a big mama bear in a sense, and kind of lived from that space. So I think people just, and listen, I understand because if I didn't come here and obviously suss things out and have deep conversations with my kids and them understand the why and what we were going to do, like we had deep conversations. I didn't like decide this on a Tuesday night. And we
Right.
talked about what they want. And then each of them were like, we should do this. I was really the last one of everyone because I wanted to make sure everyone would be happy because I knew this would be really difficult to come back from and go, just joking. We're going to stay. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's a thing. So
Well, what did you say to the friends and family? I mean, obviously you were good at setting boundaries, et cetera, but you're also a very nice person. So how did you nicely say, thank you, but also fuck off because I'm going to do what's right for me and my family?
yeah, so I didn't tell too many people in the
Yeah.
beginning until it was done.
So you're like, it's already done. There's nothing you can do about it. Yeah. We're
You know
going.
why? Because I wasn't asking their permission.
Right.
And I could get a sense of what they would say. And I don't expect people to understand my dreams that tend to be kind of big and bold and little crazy, you know? So there's nothing I needed for them to believe in the moment. And now they're just loving it. And now they want to update, like, you know what I'm saying? So now's the time for them. And, that's fine.
That's
That's
what I
fine.
mean.
But
That's what it is. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Once you do it and they see you doing it successfully, now everybody wants to come do it too. And
yeah. I'm a holiday destination for many people now.
for me, I'm coming one of these days. I promise I will be there. You're going to think this is all lip service. And then one day I'm going to be like, I'm on the plane on Tuesday. Get your guest room ready. We're checking out the Azores. Brad and I have already been talking about it. We want to come check it out. really badly.
Absolutely.
But so you say, look, I'm already going, this is already happening. And now people are seeing how well it's going. And to me, like, that's really what leadership
Mhm.
is going, it's okay if nobody else agrees with this. It's okay if nobody else gets it. Nobody else is going to see my vision, right? I have a vision that all that matters is that my family sees it. My husband sees it. My kids see it. We all want to do it together. Those are the people that matter. So we're going
Yeah.
to do it. And then you're going to watch us do it. And then you're going to get it later. And it's okay for you to get it later. You don't have to get it right now.
Yeah, yeah. It wasn't for them. And and
Yeah.
there's some real meanings behind it too. So I think for my family, like my father's side and my father, you know what I mean? I'm sure that has meanings for him to like come back, and like they left a place. And it was very different when everyone had left it. So I really do understand why people are like, what are you doing? But there's like a US naval base here, like things happened here and it changed so much. So I think there's also timing to things, real sense of timing where, like you said before, something makes sense at another time and it would not have made sense 5, 10 years ago.
Well,
Where
I
now,
was gonna ask, when did your family originally come to Canada from the Azores, and why? What was going on that created that first move?
ooh, a lot was going on here. So a lot, yeah. So there was like a dictator in power in Portugal, or like one of the longest dictatorships happened here. There was a lot of the economy was really not really. It's kind of interesting some things that other countries are struggling with now in North America. You know what I mean? Politics was interesting. The
By
economy was
other countries, you mean
interesting.
us? Yes.
Well, no, I mean lots of countries around, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like so there was instability, and so my grandparents took a shot at life somewhere else. And it wasn't easy for them, right? So my grandmother lived here for, well, it's the immigrant story. My grandmother lived here with the kids for a while. My grandfather went away, had a really hard job away from his family, which I always think about because when I want to be like, something's hard. It's like, it's no, I have the bougie version compared to what like they
Right.
went through. So we're just going to not complain about that, which has been very helpful to keep in mind. And then years later, my grandmother came with the kids, but I'm talking like, I could be off by a couple of years, but like definitely 60 years ago,
Yeah.
for sure 60 years ago. My
Yeah.
dad didn't come back till last year.
Wow.
Then we found his old house and stuff, and everything had changed. So I do understand why for people this was a crazy belief, which is really great when you don't need other people's belief to do something, because they didn't need to believe it and it definitely would not have been right for them. But that doesn't mean it's not right for you. And then maybe you're just like the one that goes first. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're the first to the party, and then you open the door for other people.
Absolutely. I love it. And we're all coming. We are all moving to the Azores. Give us your Azores tourism commercial. Like, why should we all come live with you? And she's actually going to be like, don't all come live with me. You're going to ruin it.
You're gonna kill me if you're. This is not a move to Portugal video, but
I'm
I,
moving. No.
I mean, I think you can make anywhere you want great, but I think what this opportunity is really doing is having people become aware and conscious of what do I need for it to be great. Right? I think this moment in time is taking a lot of people off autopilot.
Yeah.
That's what it did for me. It took me off autopilot, and I was like, okay, so if there was a choice, what would I want to choose? And without making this wrong or that wrong, or like whatever it needs to be, it's just here's what I want to experience. And so maybe it's Portugal, which I love, and the food's bananas. Don't come here looking to like, oh, I'm not going to eat anything. Yeah, you are. You're going to eat it all, and it's going to be great. And here is, I would take a look at the, if you want to relax. My son says this is a hard place to hustle because there's like this energy. It's like a volcanic island. It's 3 tectonic plates. There's this like vibe. It's what they claim this island Atlantis was. That's like
Mm.
the conversation here. Even these taxis and stuff called Atlantis and stuff like that. So it's where nature is definitely bigger, and you are not confused by the fact that nature is the bigger element. That's all.
I love that so much. That's how I feel when I'm in Hawaii, by the way, that like nature is the big, and you just
Right.
realize, oh, I'm just here. I'm just an animal. Like I'm just in this. Okay, so we're talking about this concept that sometimes you go somewhere and you realize, oh, actually, nature's in charge. Nature's bigger. So I actually feel that way when I go to Hawaii, right? And Hawaii's got a lot of magical vibes to it, and you can see, oh, it was, it's on top of a vortex or whatever, so that you can feel it. And whenever I'm there, I just remember, oh yeah, I'm just existing in nature, right? I'm just like an animal
Right.
walking around on this island and here. So that's kind of the same feeling that you're getting over there?
100%. And they call this the Hawaii of Europe. It's like an
That now I
archipelago of a bunch of little islands. Like you've got like chickens running around. Like I just have a whole bunch of chickens that just like randomly in my backyard. I was thinking chickens is the next phase. We're doing organics. We have an agroforest. We're doing like all the things, right? And then I was like, we should get chickens. At what point we'll have chickens, talking it through, look in the back. There's a whole flock that just like decided this is our place now. So they've taken over. I don't know where the chickens came from, but that's like Hawaii, you know, there's a chicken crossing the road, like normal.
yeah.
There's more cattle here than people. And I love that. They have something here called cow hour, which means like there isn't traffic here, but when they're moving cattle from one pasture, everything like, and so grass fed isn't fancy here, right? It's like, well, that's what you feed cows, right? Because there's so much of it.
What else would you feed cows except for grass? Yeah.
Right? So you move them from pasture to pasture, they'll move on the streets. So the cars just park and they just wait. And the cows just move through. You know what I mean? You just chill, roll the window down. I'm always like, morning, ladies. You know what I mean? Like, I love these cows. I never had such an affinity for cows before, but they just have this like chillness about them here. I adore.
Yeah. Yeah. They're not hustle cows.
No, no factory stuff. Like they're just sitting, staring at the ocean, chewing some grass. No big deal. Looking at rainbows. Yeah, happy cows.
So I can certainly appreciate how you and your husband in your 50s would be like, yes, I want to slow down. I want to have this new way of life. It's harder for me to get my head around teenagers saying, yes, I want to leave my friends and my school and I have teenagers, right? And it's like,
Right.
that's a huge, huge deal for them. And they actually wanted to. So tell us about that, and then tell us about how they've adjusted and what's different for them and all of that.
So let's go down the woo just a little bit for a second, and I'll tell you how this like shift happened, right? Because I decided we were gonna, get a house, and I was just this house we bought here, which I love, was gonna sit for years until the kids were ready, and I just made all these stories about how it had to be, feeding everyone's needs. And then I was walking down the street one day and I thought, oh, that's right. I'm deciding. I know the how it has to happen. You know what I mean? Like I've decided the one way this thing can work. And so I must have looked absolutely ridiculous again. This goes up there with me smelling, the ocean, but whatever, it works, is I remember walking like sideways, like avoiding a puddle. And I was like, oh, I'm just going to like get out of the way. And like whatever is the best for every member of my family, like whatever serves them the best way, that I want to happen. And I'll just get out of the way deciding it has to be one way. I go back home and my kids like, Mom, I'm just not really loving school as much. Like it's not as great. And we had put them in this school, this whole thing happened, like on paper, yeah, everything on paper. And it wasn't. And she's like, and she just in one of those teenagers like moments was just like, I want to go to school there. We never thought about it before. And then I just went, are you serious? And she didn't mean it. But then she got curious and she looked at it. We flew to look at it. So she felt empowered by it. So she got to make the decision. My son looked at schools. He's in a university, which is amazing in Portugal, And so I guess what helped is they weren't forced to do it. They decided why it suited them. And I was honest about a lot of like the pros and cons of each of the countries and what it made available and you know what I mean? So I think they wrote their own story.
Did they didn't have boyfriends, girlfriends, like anybody? They were just, I have to stay.
Well, I can tell you how many people are coming to visit. Yeah. Like we brought our luggage in, my daughter and I, we came first, put our luggage down that week. We had 7 people come to visit. Then her best friend and mother came to visit. And so I think we're a cool stopping space for people.
Nice.
And I mean, being an 18-year-old going to school in Portugal, having your friends come to visit, and going to school in Lisbon doesn't suck. So that's not as hard a pass for anyone.
Well, yeah, and that's a good point. I mean, moving now would not be the same as, moving away would have been when we were teenagers, where,
Right.
Maybe you write a couple of snail mail letters and then you never hear from the person again. Like everybody's very connected to each other and very in touch. And you told me before we started that the Azores has amazing internet. So that was
amazing internet. Yeah, this place is amazing for it. And what I should also say, though, it's not like everybody's jet setting around here and spending all this money. I mean, that's what happened there. You also have FaceTime. So my they still talk to all of their friends on the phone, on their iPad, whatever it is. And that's not as weird to them as it is maybe if we think like that would be suffering. But to them, it's like, it's no big deal.
And yeah, I have teenagers, and that's what they do anyway. They just sit in their room and talk to their friends on. It's like people don't go to each other's house. I mean, they do, but not like in the same way where when I was a teenager, we just like lived in each other's houses and we were just always together. We were out, driving around or doing stuff together. And now the kids really spend a lot of time communicating online and through tech.
That's a really good point that I found so different here. So the kids here, that the schools, like, you need to go, like, they give them such long breaks, like schools just organize differently. And they're like, go to the beach on your break.
Oh,
Like, go
wow.
out at lunch, go out to the city, like I could, and I don't. I mean, I've thought about it. I don't. I could just go into the classroom and say, I just want to watch the classroom. I just want to go have lunch with my daughter. I could go into a school. Like, there is this calmness. So while there's things people could say, well, do you miss malls? Do you miss these things? I don't, just because I've decided not to miss them. Saying, like, you look at the pros and cons around the things, but why it's for the kids. And it is shocking to me because it doesn't make sense how teenagers are happier this way, or how it's not that everything is perfect, but I think it wasn't perfect at home, which made it easier. You know what I mean? There was still stuff that was happening. And, actually one thing I will say is my daughter was walking in town and she was like, just being very observant of her surroundings and stuff like that. And one of the other kids who was from North America had lived there a while ago. She's like, oh, we don't have to do that here. Everything's really safe.
Yeah.
And my daughter was like, oh, and I was like, I don't know, that really gave me some feels. And it wasn't about anything specific, but it was just about like how many people are around, or like whatever, she just has this, I don't know, life is just different. Nothing is perfect. I'll say that. But it kept us as a family really tight because we need each other, which is
Yeah.
different than back at home where everyone
Yeah.
has their own things and it's predictable. We know, like, come look what we did in the backyard, or like, mom, we're practicing verbs and we're back. You know what I mean? Like, her and I are like, we got Post-it notes around the house with different languages that we're trying to. She's went to a school where she didn't speak the language at all. I grew up with it and stuff, but she didn't know it. And now she is speaking. And so we're learning a language together, which is very bonding.
That's
Or my
so cool.
husband's, yeah. So I guess I would say in times when there's a lot of uncertainty and things going on in the world, like, pick the uncertainty you want. And so we picked our uncertainty.
Oh, I love that. I get goosebumps when you said that. I love that.
Yeah, because I don't want to play like, everything's fine. Here's my Instagram life. Like, it's all perfect. It's not.
Yeah.
But we chose our problems.
Yeah. Yeah. Love it. It's going to be uncertain anyway. Choose your uncertainty. What else would you say to anybody watching or listening who has a big dream and is a little bit anxious about it? What advice would you give them?
Yeah, well, that's being alive.
Yeah.
Right? That's one of the things that had us looking at it, is because it got so predictable, we were getting stuck. I would say, see how you can normalize. That would be like a real piece of advice. Like, how can you normalize your dream? Like, first, mentally, how many times can you play it? What's your version of smelling the ocean? What's your version? I mean, I just had people I work with that we were doing like, neural circuits. The way that you can make your brain not see the gap is so big between where you are and where you want to be. That's one. If you can watch people on YouTube, read books, find people who've done something close enough. Again, the gap between where you are, where you want to be starts to shrink a little bit. It's not so crazy. So when you said like, so crazy thing, I genuinely was like, what are we going to talk about? Because it just normalized it so much. And when people say, but you moved to a volcanic island, I'm like, I'm reconnecting with my roots, learning to grow. It just seemed like a healthy thing to do, giving our family away where we're really connected. And people are like, what? And I'm like, well, that's what I think I did, but that's because that's what I told myself I was doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So just normalize it, because if not, you're going to normalize something else. Like, it's not like we're not going to normalize something. I just was probably normalizing a certain way of aging, a certain way of a family being, a certain way of like, I just think how the marriage is going to be. And a great question my husband asked is like, who are we going to be when the kids leave? Because we're so about the kids. And I was like, good question. I don't know. But now, kind of reintroducing needing each other away.
Oh, I love it. I love it. We're going to be farmers. That's what we're going to be. So tell us.
Yeah, he's out like building wood shelters. And I'm like, that's awesome. And here
That's
I'm
hot.
bringing them out like snacks, and I'm just like, look at us. We're like, been together 22 years, and I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah. Man, if my man started building me a shelter outside, ooh, that's sexy. If you're
right? Like
listening.
I was gonna say, like, yeah, it was. And if you would have told me that 5 years ago, I would not have believed that. But again, it's just making up something new where things were getting old or in a rut or whatever. So does everyone have to move some crazy place? No, I think you can find something crazy, wild, and exciting wherever is the fit. And I don't think we have to be stuck, but I think we just have to really be aware that this is the best time to decide what we want and then build up like all the reasons why you just got to run for it no matter what, even if there's a volcano that's not too far from where you live.
I love it. Now, as we wrap up, I want to give you a chance to plug what you're doing now because you have just started your own YouTube channel about life in the Azores. So tell people about that. Tell them where they can find you on the internet if they want to connect with you.
Sure. And one of the reasons I did that was to close the gap. Like I was watching people who were normalizing things. And because I watched it, that's why it doesn't seem delusional for me to make this. So I'm like, this is a bit of like paying it forward. Like I would love if someone watched my stuff and was like, well, compared to what she did, my thing is super normal and I can do it. Right. So, and that started to happen with comments, which made me happy. So you can just look up Lisa Toste, Toste. And I'm basically showing my journey of moving here, giving questions so people can ask questions because it's not a you should move to Portugal channel, but like I want to walk people through the stuff I went through, how I came to it, and then kind of a day in life of islands. Like just give yourself like a 10-minute break to see some island vibes, ask some questions, and decide how you want to create your own life. That's the thing.
You got Instagram handles, anything like that you want to share?
Yep. No,
Nope.
just that right now. Yeah, and
Just go to the YouTube.
just go to the YouTube. Keeping it island simple. We don't have to be complicated yet. It'll all grow into those things, but for now we're just doing the YouTube.
Go to the YouTube, like, subscribe, share it, comment. Do the same thing with this channel, by the way. Like, subscribe, share, and comment. Help us spread the delusional world. And you can find me at Michelle to Scale on any social platform. I'm particularly diving into TikTok right now because I can learn new things as well.
Right? I saw that.
That's what we're doing. Lisa, thank you so much for being on. It's been such an awesome pleasure to have you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Great to be here.
And everybody else, we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching and listening.
Bye, everyone.